Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. You can check me out anywhere you hear my voice, as I am looking at my levels, trying to get this mic sounding good. It looks like it's sounding good for you guys. Hopefully it does sound good for you guys. Who's kidding who? If my volume is low on here, you can just turn me up on your radio or AirPods or however you're listening to me. So I'm just going to ignore the levels for now and get into my weekend. Since I've been talking to you guys, yes, the last time I did a podcast, I was down and out. I had broken or fractured a wrist, severely sprained the other one, but that didn't stop me, guys. That didn't stop me. Last night, I went to Pool Diner in Raleigh, a delicious restaurant. I had the tuna. My girlfriend had the mac and cheese. It's a diner-like atmosphere, food quality of a 5-star restaurant, or 3-star restaurant. When it's the Michelin stars, you get either 1 or 2. A 1-star restaurant, however they do that. The mac and cheese, everyone is known to have great mac and cheese. I tasted the mac and cheese, believe it or not. I tasted it, and it tasted like good mac and cheese. The tuna, they're not known for the tuna, but get that shit. Way better than the mac and cheese. Pool's Diner in Raleigh, North Carolina. For anyone who's, into fish or, odd diets, go out there, eat that. The reason we were in Raleigh, though, is because we went to a concert. My birthday is Friday, but I work on Friday, so we went to this concert on a Monday. We saw the Get Up Kids, legendary band with the starting line, pop punk legends. One of my favorite bands, New Found Glory, all open for the All-American Rejects. I gotta say, wasn't a fan of All-American Rejects going in, but I was like, you know what, I'm already here. Let's have them impress me. I was all set to heckle them. I was all set to troll them. I was ready to have my sign that said, Carolina is hangman country, to hold up to the All-American Rejects. We'll get into that a little later. But I couldn't do it. They came out. They played the hits that you know and love. The guy was goofy as hell. The lead singer, goofy as hell. He's one of these guys that if you met in real life, if he was your neighbor, he'd bother the hell out of you. But since he's the frontman of a rock band, you realize that he is doing what he is destined to do. He has got this personality. He's got a little Mick Jagger, a little Russell Brand, a little Reject. He's an all-American Reject. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a great name for his band, because that's kind of what he is, and he rocked that fucking crowd. It was his crowd. He owned it. Went into the crowd at one point. Got on the stage. He killed it. I gotta say, that was my main takeaway. I mean, the opening bands is why I went. I love all those bands. I knew it wasn't going to be like going to see those bands when they were headlining a show, but it was still great. Still great to see. But that wasn't the only thing I did since last time we spoke. Saturday night, I went to Collision. And I'm just going to go into how it was to go to the AEW portion. Then I'm going to talk about all the controversy and rumors. And then I'm going to talk about Ring of Honor. Because, it was a dual filming. And I didn't know this wasn't a part of the show, but the Guns wrestled a dark match against the Infiltrate, Charlie Bravo and Sean Dean. Charlie Bravo, haven't really seen much of him. My main takeaway is his kicks needs to be snug. His kicks, there's more air between those kicks than a bedroom with 3 ceiling fans. There's air between those kicks. He needs to lay it in for me to believe in Charlie Bravo. I don't believe in Charlie Bravo right now. I want to see these kicks laid in. Sean Dean, like him. The Guns, I was chanting Ass Boys with the rest of everybody else. The Ass Boys is the new Burger King. Remember, back in the day, you would chant Burger King at Jerry Lawler. It pissed him off, and it was hilarious to piss him off. That's how this Ass Boy chant has become in modern-day pro wrestling, and I love it. The Guns pick up the win. The Acclaimed come out. I would say the Acclaimed are the second most over, right behind CMFTR that evening. Anthony Bowens, Max Caster come out without Daddy Ass. Unfortunately, they beat the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson, which I said that's Bear Country. My buddy next to me said, no, that's not Bear Country, but I knew it was Bear Country, and it was Bear Country. And they came out with this guy, Jacked Jameson. Hilarious name. People were saying that that's how Tony Khan got his coke this evening. That's what he looks like. He did have the fanny pack. The reason they were probably booked on the show might be some reasons we can't talk about here. He did look like he was Tony Khan's guy for the evening. Tanned, fanny pack, a little bit of riffraff in the guy. He looked like, I don't know, a wrestling version of riffraff. But I do have to mention, now that I'm talking about my friends in attendance, I went with my friend Kenny, listener of the show, friend of the show, Kenny. We had a great time. We went to Romeo's restaurant or fast food place, Burgers, before the show on Tate Street in Greensboro, North Carolina. Great place to go to if you are going to the Coliseum for a wrestling show or a concert or something like that. Then we went to Odin Brewery on the same street as the Coliseum, another great place to go to if you're going to the Coliseum in Greensboro. But we're sitting there, we're waiting for the show. I think a few matches had already taken place, and then here comes and sits next to us. He bought a whole Coliseum, holds it was seated for I would say 6,000 people. The whole damn Coliseum. Who sits next to us but my friend Peter? We love going to wrestling shows together, me and Peter. We had not talked about going to this particular wrestling show together. I think we both assumed that we would both be there and we'd run into each other. Little did we know that we would sit right next to each other. What are the odds? I guess 6,000, and, I don't want to do the odds, but the odds are crazy for that to happen. Boom, sat right next to me. Really cool moment. One of my favorite moments of the night. Another great moment of the night was Diamante Mercedes Martinez defeating Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. The live crowd was great for this. The live crowd loves Willow, including this one guy who just stood up and said, I traveled for 2 hours not to see you get your ass beat. But that is what happened. That is what he did. He did travel 2 hours to see him get his ass beat. Andrew Everett, local legend on the show. He was Impact. He's been in PWG. He's been in MLW. He's been all over the globe wrestling. DDT in the UK most recently. I see him frequenting the brewery that I work at in Whitsett, North Carolina. But he got choked the fuck out by Samoa Joe, and he wasn't the only one to get choked out by Samoa Joe. We'll get into that a little later. The AEW TNT Luchasaurus. The AEW TNT title was on the line with Luchasaurus beating Brock Anderson. Of course, they had to bring out the former Horsemen in the Greensboro Coliseum. The Mid-Atlantic hotbed in the 80s was the Greensboro Coliseum. It's where Starrcade started, and people can say that Starrcade kind of maybe started the idea of the Wrestling Super Show, which then, of course, kicked off WrestleMania and kicked off, how they do big pay-per-views and things like that. You can contribute that to Starrcade. It happened in the Greensboro Coliseum. We were in the legendary Coliseum. Arn Anderson used to sell that place out with the Mid-Atlantic Crockett territory, and then here is his offspring coming out, Christian Cage, saying that Ric Flair wasn't shit, saying that Greensboro Coliseum wasn't shit. And you know what, Christian Cage, fuck you. I'm just kidding, of course. Christian Cage, great heel, but seriously, fuck you, man. But Luchasaurus did get the victory, and then we got the main event, the best match on the show, the one match that everyone was looking forward to on the show. Of course, everyone, they wanted to see the Acclaim. They wanted to see Samoa Joe. They wanted to see Willow Nightingale. Christian Cage and Arn Anderson's spot was kind of cool. But everyone bought a ticket to see this match. I don't care if you wanted to boo CM Punk, or you wanted to cheer CM Punk, or you wanted to wish FTR a good homecoming. You bought a ticket to see this match. You bought a ticket to maybe get the attention of CM Punk, whether you like him or not. That is what you did. The House of Black versus CM FTR. This was a great match. I don't really have a lot of reviewing of this match, I just remember enjoying the hell out of it. There was a big fight feel in the air. One of my favorite things in pro wrestling is that big fight feel and going to live shows, and this was there. I've been to Manias, I've been to Dynamites, I've been to tons of Raws, tons of SmackDowns, you name it. I've been to it in North Carolina. You name it in the Southeast, I've probably been to it too. And there was something special in the air of this when not only CM Punk came out, but when FTR came out. Perfect foils for these guys was the House of Black. Brody King felt like a star. Malachi Black felt like a star. When Malachi Black and CM Punk got in the ring, everyone just stood up and cheered. When they sat down, they were the only ones sitting down in the whole arena. Everyone was standing up and cheering. Of course, there might have been a few CM Punk haters in the audience that maybe, didn't stand up based on some kind of principle they had, but fuck it. But what happened at the end? Samoa Joe comes back out, chokes out CM Punk, causes CMFTR to lose. House of Black retain the Trios Championship. They leave. Show goes off the air. You get Dax Harwood cutting a promo. You get Cash Wheeler cutting a promo about Old Fort, North Carolina. I know Old Fort because I went to school in Asheville. And when you're going to Asheville from Greensboro, North Carolina, right before you get to the mountains, right before you go up Black Mountain, you see a sign that says Old Fort. That's how I know Old Fort exists. He said it's a town of like 700 people. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's a tiny little town Cash Wheeler is from. And here he is traveling the world in pro wrestling. It's amazing to hear about, amazing to see. Dax Harwood, of course, wrestled, in Gibsonville, North Carolina, kind of cut his teeth in CWF Worldwide, which was a YouTube show back like 10 years ago that he worked with before going to NXT. So it's just super cool to see these guys back. And then teaming up with CM Punk, who got choked out but somehow made his way back into the ring. And a few rows in front of me was these group of guys. They all had signs. Hangman was right was on one of the signs. Carolina is Hangman Country was another sign. Twist his dick was a sign. Believe it or not, these guys had tons of signs. They were holding it up, and as they're going through this feel good moment, of course these signs catch their eye. I mean, it's literally opposite of the hard cam, about 10 rows up. I mean, it's right there. They got these tickets to hold this sign up, so whether these guys hated CM Punk or loved CM Punk, they bought their tickets for CM Punk. You can't argue that. Whether if you're these people, you bought your ticket for CM Punk, and you bought your ticket so CM Punk could see you with this sign. They said something like Carolina's Hangman Country. He went to the local superstore, and the reason they call him Hangman is because he didn't really even fully say the full joke. It was the toys were hanging on the shelf. He didn't really fully get there, but I think everyone knew where he was going. And then he says he sells toys. He sells, people can say that they're the heart and the soul. That's, objective. But, he is the biggest star, which I think is true. I think if you look back, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think if I were to have the numbers, and based on what Tony Khan has said in the past, CM Punk is their biggest star monetarily speaking. And then they start, kind of FTR starts grilling the guy. The guy was a redheaded individual. He's a ginger. He's a cute ginger. They kind of poke fun at the guy a little bit. And this was, I didn't personally know any of the backstage stuff that was going on at Collision. So let's just kind of maybe go into that a little bit. I didn't know that, Ryan Nemeth got sent home, was told he wasn't needed. Honestly, Ryan Nemeth probably is told he's not needed at a lot of these shows. Sucks that he had to fly out there and then fly back. But what was Ryan Nemeth doing, you're in Hollywood, Florida, or you're in Greensboro, North Carolina. Like, what are you really doing? They're paying you. They're flying you out. No harm, no foul. People are linking him getting sent home and maybe a rumored altercation that took place between him and CM Punk, because apparently CM Punk Ryan Nemeth shook everyone's hands earlier that day, didn't shake CM Punk's hand. He has been on record on being the elite, saying that, CM Punk is the softest guy alive. So, who knows? I mean, when you insult the top guy, will the top guy want you there? No. So, I mean, I don't really care. But then it gets weird because, Adam Page, from my understanding from working in restaurants and, just being a wrestling fan in the area, I think he lives in Greensboro. He has not claimed North Carolina as his home on AEW television. He claimed Virginia being his home, which kind of upset me because, you're from Greensboro, man. Like, you moved here, you live here. Come on, man. What's up? But apparently he was at Collision tapings, was told to get sent home, and got sent home. Matt Hardy, similar situation, denying the Greensboro crowd of a Matt Hardy pop, or a Hardy Boys pop in general, is kind of upsetting. But you know what? Matt Hardy's hated CM Punk since he was eating grapes in like 2012, 2013. Since he was in Ring of Honor, from after leaving WWE, from the European tour. So he's hated CM Punk for like 10 years now. So that's not shocking there either. Now apparently there's rumors that CM Punk and Jungle Boy got in an argument because Jungle Boy was apparently at Collision and wanted to do something where he went through real glass. Apparently lots of people told him that it wasn't a good idea, including CM Punk, but him and CM Punk are the ones who got in the altercation. This doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I mean, back in the day, Goldberg insisted on using real glass for his backstage story arc, and ended up injuring himself to the point where he was gone for months. So it makes sense that, these veterans and people like Jim Ross and CM Punk told Jungle Boy to not do something involving real glass. So, Ryan Nemeth, whatever. Not really a lot of weight to that. Jungle Boy, from what I'm reading, not really a lot of weight to that. Matt Hardy, a little more weight to it. I don't know why. It's even being CM Punk, that Matt Hardy, it's his hometown. I've been going to shows in the Greensboro Coliseum literally since the 90s, and they've been on the shows since the 90s, and they get a huge pop. I remember it was like a WWE house show back when Stone Cold was in a cage match with Kane and The Undertaker in the main event. The Hardy Boys were in a match that evening. It was going that far. Before they were even on WWE TV proper, they were coming out to the Greensboro Coliseum, picking up dubs, popping the crowd. So that kind of upsets me that we didn't get to see that continue. That legacy continued. Much like Arn Anderson and Mid-Atlantic, the history there's a lot of history with the Hardy Boys in the Carolinas that I would have liked seen done. Hangman Page, I don't know. There was a backstage altercation with, everyone knows about Brawl Out by now. So, if CM Punk was in Chicago and the Elite didn't want to be at Dynamite because CM Punk was there, but then they show up on Collision and Adam Page is asked to leave. I don't know. Who cares? To the people that are going to Collision to hold up signs, to kind of stir the pot between the Elite and CM Punk, it just seems like odds are these people are strangers to you. So it seems weird that you've picked sides with strangers. Everyone's a good wrestler involved. Had Adam Page come out, I'd been surprised since he hadn't appeared on Collision yet. But when I saw the sign, Adam Page's Hangman, or Carolina is Hangman country, I really didn't. I was shocked that they would bring up Hangman at a Collision show. Dynamite comes around, go see Dynamite. Collision comes around, go see Collision. You're mad at CM Punk for ultimately starting a show, and you're saying that CM Punk is ruining AEW. The only thing that's happened here is that we get 3 AEW shows on TV instead of 2 shows on TV. So this altercation, from a fan's perspective, has done good. It's more opportunities for more wrestlers to get on TV because they're trying to keep the CM Punk separate from the Elite. I don't know, man. I think I'm getting tongue-tied and twisted up here, but the people with the signs, they went to get CM Punk's attention. They did, and it was the talk of the internet for one morning. That's cool. And then all of a sudden, the Ryan Nemeth thing started coming out. It's like, what? Who gives a shit about Ryan Nemeth? The Jungle Boy thing came out most recently. It's like, yeah, I mean, anyone should tell you not to use real glass. So, I mean, to put that on CM Punk, I think that's just to get clicks. But then I think the Matt Hardy thing, the Hangman Page thing, there is some weight to that. Those are legitimate big stars, even if Hangman Page doesn't sell as many toys as CM Punk. But going into the Ring of Honor tapings, Josh Woods defeating Silas Young. What a old school, current old school Ring of Honor match this was. In the dying days of Ring of Honor in 2020, when they were wrestling in front of no crowds, this was the kind of match you would get. And then we got Athena versus Brittany Jade, where Billy Starks had to come in for the save for Athena. Reluctantly, Athena kind of, respected it a little bit. And then we had the whole AEW taping. We went back and we had Gravity versus Gringo Loco. Great match here. Lucha style match. Samoa Joe pulling double duty, coming out, teaming with Stokely Hathaway versus the Boys. Stokely Hathaway, hilarious here. He kind of stole the whole match here. I think even from the star like Joe and, the favorites of the Boys. Cole Carter. This was an interesting matchup here. Griff Garrison went to Guilford College, right down the road from Greensboro Coliseum. Cut his teeth in Firestar Pro Wrestling right here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Appeared on AEW a lot a few years ago. And now here he is in Ring of Honor wrestling Cole Carter, who, just got released from the Performance Center, revealed himself not to be Sting with Jeff Jarrett at one Dynamite, but you really hadn't seen much of him since. Wins the match against Griff Garrison, and then Maria Kanellis, kind of whispers in his ear, and it looks like Cole Carter might join the Kingdom, might join Maria, who knows. Billy Starks versus Charlotte Renegade, a part of the Renegade Twins. The Renegade Twins, there was obviously a numbers game there after the match. Athena came out to save Billy Starks. And earlier in the day, Thunder Rosa's doctor said that Thunder Rosa was going to wrestle. So I'm sitting there with my buddy, and I'm saying anytime they announced that there was going to be a women's match, I'm saying it's going to be Thunder Rosa. I love Thunder Rosa. I was excited to see her first match back, and then every single women's match, I get kind of disappointed here more and more that it's not Thunder Rosa. It was bumming me out. My friend gave up on it before I did, and looking back, I should have given up on it a lot sooner. Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and Lee Johnson wrestle Lee Moriarty and hometown boys, or not hometown boys, but home state boys, Anthony Henry and JD Drake. JD Drake, part of the wingman with Ryan Nemeth, still got on the show. Trisha Dora and Lady Frost, this match was good, but, I was disappointed it wasn't Thunder Rosa. Layla Hirsch defeating Rachel Ellering. Once again, great match. Just a little disappointed it wasn't Thunder Rosa, Dalton Castle defeating Peter Avalon. Great match here. Peter Avalon, another wingman, appearing on AEW, or Ring of Honor, and no Ryan Nemeth. So most of the wingmen are good. How many wingmen do you need? If you got 3 or 4 wingmen, where's the guy who's going home with the girl? You already got 2 wingmen on the show, Ryan. Graham Metali versus Tony Nese. This brought me back to the 205 Live days of yesteryear. This was great to see, and this was a great match. Tony Nese came out and shit on Cheerwine, which is a drink, a local soda that we have here in North Carolina, and Cookout, a fast food chain that we have here in North Carolina. That got heat with the crowd. So we were all behind Metallic. There was a cookout chant. There was, a cheerwine chant. We were pissed at Tony Nese. Ironically so. No one was really mad at Tony Nese. But we were all having a good time. The crowd dwindled down more and more at these Ring of Honor tapings. Like, there was I want to say a crowd of 5,000 dwindled down to a crowd of 500 during these Ring of Honor tapings. But that's what kind of made it fun. It kind of, you got to go to a big television show spectacle, and then you also got to go to what kind of felt like an indie show, a big indie show, a super indie, the same night. I would recommend going and seeing AEW. If you're listening to my voice and you somehow reluctantly don't want to go to an AEW show, it was totally fun. You hear all these things about the crowd size not being what you think it's going to be for these Collision shows. The whole lower bowl of the Greensboro Coliseum was full, and CM Punk even said they sold more tickets than the last time they were there, which is interesting because last time they were there was around Christmas time, and it was a Dynamite. So it outsold Dynamite in certain markets. So there you go. But that was my experience of going to a AEW show, going to a concert. But I'm kind of ignoring the elephant in the room in the wrestling world this weekend. The G1 finals took place. The first match we got on Saturday was Evil versus Okada. I wish Okada wrestled someone a little different here. And as you guys know, my hand is broken, so I can't type my notes. So I'm going by what I'm reading here. Evil attacking Okada before the bell like a dick, going to the outside. Okada going, turning the tables on Evil, hitting a DDT on the floor, locking in the money clip. And then I think, this is when the House of Torture show up here, just like they would do, just like a bunch of assholes. A crazy, three-way scissor me timbers spot here. So they pick up Okada, so he's doing a headstand, and they split him. They wishbone him. And you don't want no one would ever wish this on their bone. And Jado comes off the top rope, boom, with a Dick Togo, with a judo chop right to Okada's nads. 1-2, Okada kicks out. Darkness falls by Evil. 1-2, Okada kicks out again. House of Torture gets taken out by Okada. Okada locks in the money clip. House of Torture, relentless with their bullshit, keep coming at Okada, even though it's supposed to be a one-on-one contest here. Okada, takes them all out. Evil dodges the elbow after House of Torture got put at bay. Then the Rainmaker dodges everything. Evil connects, which is Evil's big move. 1-2, Okada kicks out. Rainmaker, Emerald Flosion, Rainmaker again. 1-2, 3, Okada gets the victory. The outcome you wanted, the match you didn't want. No harm, no foul, because afterwards, after that match on Sunday, we got an amazing match. I would say match of the month. I'm saying it here, match of the month. Naito versus Ospreay. Ospreay chants as the bell sounds. Naito chants as everyone kind of settled into their seats a little bit. I guess maybe there was I feel like maybe a younger, more female centric cheering section for Ospreay, where Naito might have had the fans that have been there a while, the fans that know that sit down, this is going to be a long one, this is going to be a good one, you don't got to chant right as the bell sounds. Plancha to the floor at the 5-minute mark to Naito from Ospreay. Naito in control, going after the neck and shoulders of Will Ospreay. Neck breaker on the apron. Then a neck breaker to the floor. Ospreay struggling. Shooting star while Naito was on the top rope. Huge Liger bomb. 1, 2. Naito kicks out. Goes for another bomb. Naito turns it into a DDT. This spot was awesome. Look up this GIF if you look up no other GIF in the world today. Valencia 1-2. Ospreay kicks out. Hidden blade by Ospreay. Both men down. As they rise, they start striking. Naito goes down after Ospreay lays him out. Gets up at the 9 count of the count of 10. Hidden blade. 1-2. No. Os cutter. 1-2. No. Starlight press from Naito off the top. 1-2. No. Starlight press from Will Ospreay. 1-2. No. Naito won't quit. This match is so awesome. I'm getting tongue-tied. I can barely read my notes. I always say this, but you can tell how excited I get because my notes get increasingly unlegible, which is kind of funny. I mean, I do get excited about pro wrestling. It's part of the fun. Power bomb gets countered into a Hurricane Rana by Naito. 1-2. Ospreay kicks out. Naito dodges the Blade Runner, but then just collapses. Destino, not once but twice. 1-2. Ospreay kicks out. Destino a third time. 1-2-3. Naito gets the victory. So we get the classic match, the finals that we kind of, it's not reinventing the wheel, but it's the Michelin, it's the Firestone. You're not reinventing something we don't know, but you are making it amazing. Naito versus Okada. They've main evented Wrestle Kingdoms. They've main evented all over Japan, and here they are main eventing in the 2023 G1 Climax. I already wrote down classic matchup. Crowd behind Naito. Okada DDT Naito on the apron. Naito feeling the effects from the day before. Taken out to the floor. Okada trying to win by a 20 count. He gets in the ring at 16 count very early on after getting DDT'd. Okada, arrogantly tries to pin Naito by just putting one foot on Naito. Red Shoes won't even count that disrespectful pin. Won't have that type of victory in the G1 finals. Naito gets the upper hand though. Hip toss, but instead of just dropping Okada on the mat, he sticks out the knee. I love that. Super smooth, buttery little wrestling move right there. Neck breaker on the guardrail to Okada, 15-minute mark. Action spills to the floor yet again at the 20-minute mark. Back in the ring, tornado DDT. Naito in full control at the 25-minute mark. 1-2. Naito kicks out. Immediately locks in a hold, almost knowing that it wasn't enough. Okada struggles to get the ropes. DDT, Valencia, 1-2. Okada kicks out. He won't quit. Starlight press. No one home. Both men down at the 30-minute mark. Crowd really behind Naito at this point. Okada has other plans. Lands, I can't even read what I wrote down. Lands some offensive maneuvers, it looks like. Gets a roll-up. 1-2. No. Destino connects. 1-2. Okada kicks out again. Destino gets countered into a Rainmaker that gets countered into a Destino. And then he hits another one. So 2 Destinos in a row. 1, 2, 3. Naito gets the victory. He wins the G1 Climax 2023. G1 Climax 33. It's hilarious they call it Climax. For fans that don't know New Japan, to keep saying the word climax is funny. I'll admit that. But if you watch this show, English is they mainly speak Japanese in Japan, of course. So the word climax, they're thinking about it like a climactic ending. They're not thinking about it like a climax of like a sexual endeavor. Just so you guys know. But Naito winning the G1 Climax, going on to wrestle Sonata in the Tokyo Dome. If Sonata is the champion at that point, Sonata, a guy that Naito took under his wing, had him join his faction. And then earlier this year, Sonata separated himself from Naito, won the world title in his new faction. So what's going to happen in the Dome? We have protege versus teacher. We have the legend versus the up-and-coming current champ. Sign me the fuck up, y'all. I'm excited about this. It's officially Wrestle Kingdom season. I don't care if it's August and this show ain't till January. It's Wrestle Kingdom season, and I'm excited about it. It's Wrestle Kingdom season all fall long here on Curtain Jerkin. But now that the G1 is over, I'm back to reviewing Raw. I'm back to keeping up with WWE weekly television. And that means that I'm keeping up with the recaps of SmackDown that they do on Raw. Jimmy turning on Jay at SummerSlam. Jimmy out there with Roman saying that Roman owes Jimmy one. And he says that he didn't do it for Roman. Roman's like, come on, man. You know I could get you whatever you need, right? You know you could be the right-hand man. And then Jay comes out and says, hey, man, why did you do it? And he says, because he didn't want to see Jay turn into Roman. Kind of a weak excuse, man. You super kicked your own twin brother, bro. Weak excuse. But you can see that this idea that they've reached this top of the mountain, but they can't stand on the peak and see the view because Roman is standing there with this relentless reign, not only over their family, but over what seems like the whole WWE. And it's tearing them apart. It's tearing them apart. And that's rough. That's very complex. So Jay super kicks Roman. Superman punches Jay. Jay gets the upper hand again and spears Roman. Super kicks his brother, and then fucking quits the whole damn WWE. Walks out through the crowd. Who knows what's going to happen? Is he going to show up on AEW? Is he going to show up on New Japan? I doubt it. I think this is all just a wrestling storyline taking part on the body of SmackDown. But I'm interested. I don't know what's actually going to happen. We'll have to see. Trish and Becky brawl through the crowd. Zoe gets involved. They're dragging this match on a little longer. It was supposed to happen in SummerSlam. We brought it to Raw. It didn't even happen on Raw. When is this going to happen? Judgment Day come out. They seem like the biggest things on Raw. Without Finn Balor. There's a little bit of tension, obviously, between Priest, the guy with the briefcase, and Finn Balor, the guy who wants the world title more than anything. Who is the leader of Judgment Day? No one knows. I think it's Rhea. JD McDonough shows up. Judgment Day says, hey, man, you're friends with Finn. Of course, everyone knows that Finn Balor trained JD McDonough. And that even brought that up on the show. And then Sami Zayn shows up. He wants a piece of JD. And we get a match here. Zayn versus JD. Match shows up with... let's see here what happened. I think Zayn beats JD. Indy Hartwell versus Rhea Ripley. Riptide 1, 2, 3. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell ended up getting beaten up at first by Rhea, but then they get the better of Rhea, which I know it's a 2-on-1 attack. The numbers games are there, but Rhea shouldn't be fucking around with these lower level, lower tiered ladies on the show. But then we got the rubber match with the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day, kind of lost two tonight. They lost the JD match. They lost Indy Hartwell match. But we get this Finn Balor versus Cody Rhodes. This match looks great. Amazing match here. Priest out there with the briefcase, tries to slide it to Finn, just like SummerSlam. Goes through Finn's legs into Cody's arms. Cody's a good guy and all, but you gotta fuck them over before they fuck you over, buddy. Boom. Briefcase to the dome. Crossroads, 1, 2, 3. Cody gets the victory here. So Judgment Day, best team on Raw, but picking up L's left and right. JD McDonough comes out so they attack Cody. Sammy comes out to even the odds, but it's still 4-on-1, and then it's 5-on-2. JD comes out, looks like he's going to join Judgment Day. I always thought that JD McDonough was tiny. But then when you see him standing next to Finn Balor, he's actually a little taller than Finn Balor. He just looks smaller than Finn Balor because he has a very large head on a smaller frame for a wrestler. So I learned that on Raw. That's probably my biggest takeaway from this segment here. Thought I should bring it up to you guys. Imperium and American Alpha. You gotta love this here. Maxine bitch slaps Gunther. Otis and Gunther have a match. Gunther gets the victory, but Gunther gets suplexed by Gable at the end of the match. Riddle and Drew team up against the Viking Raiders. They get the victory here. What's going to happen when Randy Orton comes back? Who is Riddle going to align with? Nakamura and Rollins look to be wrestling each other. They made it official with a handshake. Nakamura whispered something that took Seth Rollins back a bit as the crowd was singing his song. It kind of had him disheveled a little bit. He didn't know what to think of what was just said to him. Boom, Kinshasa. Nakamura standing tall. Do I think Nakamura is going to win the title? No. But just like the Finn Balor match at SummerSlam, it's going to be a great match. This is the new workhorse title. There's like 3 workhorse titles in WWE right now. It's like the SmackDown Women's, the Intercontinental, and then the World title on Raw, which I ain't complaining. I'm just noticing. Piper Niven is now teaming with Chelsea Green instead of Raquel or whoever the fuck was Chelsea Green's tag partner. Those titles are cursed. I cared very little about them at the beginning of the year, but now with all these injuries and things like that, it kind of just made me care so little. It's hard to keep up with the titles in the first place out of apathy, but now that it's all convoluted storytelling based on injuries combined with my apathy for these titles, it's even harder to keep up with. I love fucking pro wrestling. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, it's your era for the Women's Tag Championships. Let me know what you think about this show. I talked a lot. I talked about my time at the concert, my time at Collision, what I think about the backstage stuff at Collision if the rumors are true, the G1, WWE Raw, baby. Fly high. I'm out.